Joe Biden, I have one question for you, sir. How do you go from one crisis to the next so quickly? You see, the problem is not you removing the troops from Afghanistan, Joe. That's not the problem. The problem is your horrible execution of that plan. And make sure you hit the like, share, subscribe button before we get into this video. And if you are like myself, sometimes you get overworked, low on energy, and you need that energy boost, that clean energy boost preferably. This is why I recommend a product that I take myself, the herbal male solution known as A-Game, all natural energy, strength, libido, and overall health and wellness with its vitality support.
This is A-Game, fast-acting, long-lasting, with no side effects.
And just enter discount code YOUNG10 at checkout in order to get 10% off your next order of A-Game. Link for A-Game in the description box below. But getting into Joe and his latest catastrophe, his latest crisis, because Joe Biden decided to pull too many troops out at once, the country immediately destabilized. The Afghan government has collapsed. The president of Afghanistan, he has fled his own country, and the Taliban has overtaken the entire country in a very short amount of time. And the Biden administration, they finally did speak on this issue, but Joe, he was very, very brief. He said a couple of things that didn't really matter much, because he's bringing up the history of why we're even in Afghanistan in the first place. And he said that he stands on his decision to remove the troops, but he did some misdirecting because he was not focusing on his own error in the situation. He was not taking full accountability, because he brought up the Trump administration had already planned to remove troops from Afghanistan by May 1st. That deadline had already passed. That ceasefire had already ended. This man, Joe Biden, he ignored his own top military officials that were saying, hey, we need to leave more troops in the country. We can't remove all of them immediately like that. We have to leave at least 2,500 troops in the country to make sure the situation is stabilized. And Joe Biden came out of hiding to briefly speak on this and answer no questions whatsoever after giving his brief statement.
May God protect our troops, our diplomats, and all brave Americans serving in harm's way.
Mr. President, what do you make of the Afghans clinging to the aircraft?
Not really taking full accountability for his error, mostly just giving us some history of why we're in Afghanistan in the first place, then saying how he authorized the sending of 6,000 more troops back into Afghanistan. So if you're sending troops back into Afghanistan, you have to admit that you messed up with the exit strategy. You have to admit that you effed up, sir. Because why are you sending troops right back into Afghanistan? And thanks to Joe Biden's mishandling of this situation, he has endangered thousands of American citizens who are still trapped in Afghanistan, unable to get out of the capital. At Kabul, their airport is looking insane. For those that have seen the footage of it, we have Afghans grabbing onto planes as they're flying off, holding on to the planes. To give you all a bit more details, Biden ordered Afghanistan pullout against top generals' warnings. So yes, he was being warned, hey, this might not be a good idea to pull out all the troops like this. And Joe Biden, you are in the driver's seat as the president, so you cannot point back at the Trump administration and blame them for your poor execution. That's on you. President Joe Biden reportedly overruled the advice of his top military officials when ordering the United States pull out from Afghanistan. Biden met with several top military commanders before announcing his intent to withdraw the United States completely from Afghanistan. The generals recommended Biden leave a force of 2,500 servicemen in the country and step up negotiations with the Taliban for a peace deal. The president declined their advice. So all of this new destabilizing of that region is all this man's fault. That's his fault. So those commanders were General Frank McKenzie, the commander of the U.S. forces in the Middle East, General Austin Scott Miller, who led NATO forces in Afghanistan, and General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So those were the ones saying you are putting U.S. citizens, the U.S. embassy at risk. You're putting that whole region at risk if you remove all troops so suddenly. The Afghanistan government quickly crumbled. It's quickly crumbling. Oh, it already crumbled. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani fled the country Sunday morning as Taliban militants entered Kabul, the capital. The Taliban and what is left of the government are negotiating a transfer of power. The United States is evacuating and abandoning its embassy in Kabul. U.S. personnel and officials are using Kabul's airport to fly out of the country, though evacuation plans descended further into chaos on Sunday when the embassy released a statement warning Americans in Kabul to shelter in place. Yeah. It was all type of chaos going on. The security situation in Kabul is changing quickly, and the situation at the airport is deteriorating rapidly. There are reports of the airport taking fire, and we are instructing U.S. citizens to shelter in place. The statement continued. The U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan has suspended consular operations effective immediately. Do not come to the embassy or airport at this time. And this is an evolving situation, so there's going to be updates to this story. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken went on several networks Sunday defending the Afghanistan withdrawal against heavy criticism and allegations that the chaos is reminiscent of the U.S. pullout of Saigon in 1975. Yeah, I've heard others make that comparison as well. He also contended that the evacuation from Kabul was orderly. Look at the footage. Does not appear to be orderly whatsoever. Looks extremely chaotic. People grabbing on, standing on top of airplanes. So yeah, I wouldn't call that orderly. But I'm curious what you guys think about the situation. And like I said, this is a breaking story that's going to be updating for probably the next several weeks. But I'm curious what you guys think about what's happening so far. Please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and blessings to you.